What's going on, rejects? In today's video, we're gonna be talking about the 5 steps to get you into riding a motorcycle. So if you're trying to make this the year that you want to get on a bike, this is all you need to do to make that happen. All right, so for step number 1, this is gonna be, you need to get a helmet. You gotta get a helmet first things first, right? Because there's no real way to ride without having a helmet. I mean, even if you're in a state that doesn't require a helmet, I'd still say that you'd be pretty dumb to not wear a helmet. So, I was in cycle gear earlier, and I was asking them, I said, what's y'all's like budget line of helmet that would be good for beginners to start with? And they recommend the Sedici line of helmets, which is a brand that I guess Cycle Gear, I think Cycle Gear owns that brand. But I mean, it is a value brand. You get a good safe helmet for like 350 bucks. So yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty good deal. It's gonna have the safety ratings that you want it to have, and it's gonna be in the price range that you want it to be in. Like, you don't have to go out and get a Pista or a Shoei or an Arai or something like that as your first helmet. It can be pretty affordable, you know. Now when you have that helmet, that's gonna have you sitting there at your house looking at that helmet, and you're just gonna be like, man, I just got this helmet and I don't have anything to do with it. What's the point of this? Well, that's gonna bring us to step number 2. All right, so step number 1 is a nice, easy, actionable step. So that's going to bring us to step number 2, which is going to be to take your MSF course. Now, MSF stands for Motorcycle Safety Foundation. And, you know, for a long time now, they've been doing these courses that are basically how you get your license. You can get a license without taking the course, but I mean, it makes no sense not to. You'll get 2 days of riding experience, you know, on a parking lot or whatever, you know, figuring out how to do slow maneuvers and just overall how to control a motorcycle in a way that's safe. And some of it will be classroom instructions with a couple of tests, a couple written tests. But overall, I mean, it's a pretty fun course for your first time on a motorcycle. You get to, 1, get on a motorcycle for presumably your first time. And then number 2, you get to have an instructor there to answer any questions you have while you're doing these maneuvers in this parking lot. And you'll learn how to start and stop, how to do figure 8s and other maneuvers in a tight space. And you know, stuff like that. But yeah, you'll learn how to start and stop, some slow speed maneuvers like figure 8s and U-turns, and then you'll go around a little course. It's like a little track. You'll probably go around this track with a couple turns in it at about 20 miles an hour or so. And that's about as fast as this course will ever get you, is about 20 miles an hour. But the amount of stuff you can learn from 0 to 20 miles an hour is a lot on a motorcycle. So I'm here at our local DMV, and I just wanted to show y'all the course that I took my test on. All right, so this is where I took my MSF course. They have a bunch of little 250cc motorcycles in that little container there that they'll pull out for you. So this is kind of some of the lines that you have to take U-turns within. And I believe this would be like your stopping distances right here. And you know, there's just this whole little course that you've got to make your way around. Here's a little track you go through right here. Figure eights and all kind of stuff like that. You're supposed to be able to turn around within a certain distance and all of that. So, yep, this is where I took my MSF course probably 4 or 5 years ago. I took my course here, and like I said, it was a great introduction. It was really a lot of fun to be out here for 2 days, just kind of, you know, get the feel for things, and it really gives you a lot of confidence to go out there and make that purchase. All right, so that about does it for step number 2, taking your MSF course. Up next is gonna be the step that you might think would be the first step, and it's gonna be the step you're most excited for. So for step 3, we're gonna have buying your first motorcycle. Now, you might have some preconceived notions of what you want your first motorcycle to be. What I will say is you might want to have a reality check of what your first motorcycle actually should be. Like, number 1, I don't recommend buying a new motorcycle as your first bike. And obviously for number 2, you know, everybody will tell you this: don't get a fast motorcycle as your first bike. Now, I started on a 2005 Honda Shadow like 4 or 5 years ago, and I think that was an awesome starter bike. It was an 1100cc, so it did all right on the interstate and everything. It didn't have enough like horsepower to really get you in trouble. Like, you couldn't really, like, it wouldn't wheelie on you, and you know, it's kind of hard. It has plenty of grip for the power it has and everything, but it can still be a fun bike though. Like, I honestly miss that bike a little bit. Like, I like cruisers. You know, I like cruisers as much as the next American, you know, us Americans and our cruisers. I would honestly own another one if I could have 2 bikes right now. So yeah, when I bought my Honda Shadow, this is the reason why I bought a used bike to start with, because I bought that bike for $3,500 and rode on it for 2 years as my first bike. And I didn't drop it or anything. I did pretty good with that. You know, I took care of it. It was an 05. I think it had about 13,000 miles on it or something like that. Bought it for $3,500. And 2 years later, I sold it for $3,000. So I got 2 years of riding experience, you know, a couple thousand miles probably put on it. And that thing only lost $500 in value. But yeah, I trailered that bike home when I first got it, because I didn't want my first time on a bike to be like on state highways and stuff. You know, I really wanted to keep it within my neighborhood and back roads to get you comfortable on that bike. So I trailered it home and had a great time with it, man. It was an awesome bike, and you know, lost $500 on it after 2 years, which isn't even a loss really. So yeah, I recommend buying used, and cruisers are awesome for starter bikes. Don't let the young kids tell you that you gotta have a sport bike and this and that and the other. Like, the cruisers are awesome. They're fun, they're loud, they can get you where you want to go at a, you know, decent clip. So there's nothing wrong with a cruiser. Now, other than that, if you really have to have a sport bike, I would not recommend any type of 600cc or 1000cc super sport. For your sport bikes, I would recommend like a 500cc or a 650cc, something in that range. You know, like the really small bikes, I don't really care for too much, because I just feel like you're gonna get bored of it. For me, I'm 6'2" and like 210 pounds, so you know, I kind of have a minimum size bike that I'm going to sit on, right? And that's okay, but you can find something within your range, within a beginner range, that you can still be comfortable on and enjoy. So that's going to do it for step number 3. For step number 4, we're going to change scenery for a minute, and I'll get back with y'all in a minute. Alright, so that brings us to step number 4. Now, obviously, this step, you have your bike. You're obviously going to want to take it and push it to the limit, go to the highest interstate, go to the highest speed limit interstate, and just have fun. Well, unfortunately, this is another reality check for you. You don't need to go do that, right? You need to go and hone your skills. That MSF course is a great foundation, but what you really want to do is get out here on the weekends or whenever you have free time to a little park like this, where there might be a nice open area for you to just kind of learn some maneuvering and stuff. Like this guy right here is learning how to drive a car, you know. They're doing it out here. So, you know, that's kind of what we need to be doing, is working on maneuvers. So I just kind of want to show you a couple of maneuvers that you want to be able to be comfortable with. The MSF course will give you a box about the size of 2 parking spots, right? Well, it might be a little bit bigger than that, because I don't think I can turn around in 2 parking spots. You know, they don't want your feet to touch the ground. So you're going to start something like this, and it helps if you don't have this median right here, if you have nice, you know, connected parking spots. But we're going to do it right here for a little bit of a risk, I guess. You know, so when you come in here, you want to be able to slow maneuver using your clutch, rear brake, and I put my foot down, so that's not a great start. Yeah, so about 2.5, 3 parking spots, I guess, is about the size of the MSF course thing. So yeah, you want to be able to give yourself maybe about 3 parking spot spaces. And you want to test this. Like, this is just me practicing right now, obviously, because like I'm rusty at this low speed stuff, to be real with you. Like, I can pull a U-turn when I need to and stuff like that, but like the real slow speed stuff, I'm a little rusty at. So once you get some left turns down, you want to come back and do the same thing on the right side, right? So yeah, I'd say if you can do a turn within 3 spaces, you're doing pretty good. That's a really good start. So yeah, when you come out here and learn this stuff, you just want to kind of keep on going. You know, keep it within about 5 miles an hour or something like that. And just use this like a box like the MSF course gives you. And that's something you'll learn, right? And then you can come back and go left side again. Right, okay, so we're doing these lefts and rights and stuff, right? Again, like, if you have to put your foot down, put your foot down. But you want to get to the point where you don't have to, right? So, you know, once we get that down, we can kind of come out here and just do big figure 8s and really get that transition down from left to right. Right? So, preferably you don't want to do it in a big bump like that. Preferably you want some nice smooth pavement to do this on. Yeah, I'm no slow speed master, right? But like, you just want to have skills like this at least somewhat down to really be able to, you know, this is what you got to be able to do to say you can control the bike, right? Guys, I just wanted to hop in here and say that if you just give this 10, 15, 20 minutes
you know, anytime you get out and ride and have a little bit of free time, you can really massively improve your skill set. So that's what I would recommend for anybody getting started on a bike.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for step number 4. So yeah, guys, that's gonna about do it for this video. I do have one more step for you. Step 5 is going to be safe, have fun, and keep learning. You guys take it easy, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.